Hey guys, what is up? It is Bibsy7 here again, and welcome to another RuneScape 3 vlog here today. In this video, I'm going to be talking about this week's update and patch notes. We did have the Wilderness Flash Events update come out this week, so I'm going to be going over that, my thoughts, and what I've gotten from the events so far. So I've done 4 of the events now. As you can see in my chat, I've completed Walk on the Wildy Side 1, which is completing 4 of the Wilderness events, and you need to complete that many events in order to do the second part of the mini quest, which you can see I also just completed Civil War Part 2. And yeah, that's basically how you get the latest upgrade to the Infernal Puzzle Box. So before we get into the actual update, as far as the Infernal Puzzle Box goes, the newest upgrade is pretty minor. All you get is an additional 25% extra XP from Brawling Gloves. So that's not that great. However, it also does increase the Infernus environmental damage reduction to 55%. If you don't know, this starts at 40% and goes up by 5% each time you upgrade the tier of the puzzle box. And it also increases the damage reduction and damage increased dealt. I don't know how, I just completely failed to say that. But it increases the damage reduction and increases the amount of damage that you deal to monsters in the wilderness by an additional 1% each. This starts at 10 and 5% and goes up by 1% more each when you upgrade to this tier and 1% more each when you upgrade again. Assumedly, this will happen 2 more times, so this will end up at 65% damage reduction, and we'll end up at 14% damage reduction in the wilderness and 9% increased damage dealt while in the wilderness. Of course, you also get the adrenaline will not drain outside of combat. That obviously doesn't upgrade or change. And maybe the Brawling Glove XP thing will be increased slightly more with the next 2 tiers as well. We're not really sure. I expect these to probably come out in November and December. I'd assume that they're going to try and finish off the puzzle box by the end of the year. And allegedly, I believe it's supposed to become passive once all of the updates are out. Like you won't have to carry it with you anymore. I'm pretty sure, as long as you complete all the tier unlocks. But yeah, that's that. The mini quests are pretty so-so, I would say. It's pretty much not even really a mini quest, and I mean, depending on how you want to think of it, because the way it was before this, actually, the Wilderness Refresh tier 3 of the puzzle box was already available. You just had to kill 144 demons in the wilderness, which completes a task, gross misconduct, or not task, it's like an achievement or whatever. But now you have to complete Civil War Part 1, the mini quest. But in order to complete Civil War Part 1, basically all you do is you go and talk to someone, and then you go talk to someone else, and then you have to complete that gross misconduct, kill 144 demons in the wilderness achievement, and then you go talk to that person again and you're done. So I assume if you have already done that achievement, you just go talk to someone like 2 or 3 times, and then you pretty much instantly complete the mini quest. So both mini quests are basically just doing a certain achievement. So the other mini quest, part 2, all you really have to do is complete the Walk on the Wildy Side 1, which is do 4 of the Wilderness Flash events. So yeah, kind of weird. I don't think they've ever tied things like this to achievements, but it's also, I kind of think it's a good idea a little bit, because if you've already done it, you don't have to redo it. I assume that would make the most sense because it's tied to an achievement, whereas something like if the mini quest itself requires you to kill 144 demons and it wasn't tied to that existing achievement, then you would have to redo it. So it's kind of weird, but I think it's good probably in the long run. It's just strange to see that change in approach. And the mini quests just have a little bit of lore related. The second one has a pretty cool cutscene type deal with some pretty cool effects in it. And I thought it was a well done little bit there, talking about vengeance from, I think one of the Fremennik sagas talks about that person as well, from Daemonheim. And yeah, it's just a cool cutscene, has some cool effects, and just is very cinematic. But yeah, overall, as far as the events themselves go, I'll probably go ahead and play some footage of the events while I'm talking about them here, because I did video all 4 of the events that I did. And overall, I'm not really that impressed with them, honestly. They remind me quite heavily of the Zamorakian Demons Invade event that was happening prior to the release of Elite Dungeon 4, where basically you would go to a certain place in the world and a bunch of greater demons would come in through a portal and you would just kill them, and then the boss would come and you'd kill that and you'd be done and get your rewards. It's pretty much the same thing as far as I can tell from the events I've done so far. It's basically just a permanent version of that, and really not that exciting. Basically, for the first one, it was pretty much an exact replica of that. It was literally just demons that spawned in. However, these are quite a bit shorter than the Zamorakian demons ones as well. They probably lasted, I think, 10 minutes when it was the Zamorak ones, but now these Wilderness Flash events are maximum of 5 minutes. One thing I do like about it quite a bit is as long as you're in the area, a little interface will actually pop up on your interface screen. It looks like it's wherever you'd have your like ports interface or clue scroll arrow or whatever you'd have. Wherever that normally is, it'll pop up a little interface with the name of the event, the amount of time remaining, the amount of damage you need to deal, or the objective you need to complete to get a reward from the event, and then the total amount of time or the total amount of the event that has been completed. So if you see on the first one, it had time remaining, and I'm pretty sure the time remaining for all of them is 5 minutes. They all last for 5 minutes at most. That's how long you have to complete it. And then for the demon one, damage dealt personal, I needed to deal 70,000 damage to the demons, overall, in order to get my reward. And I think this is a better approach than how they had it during the Zamorak invasion, because during that, it was the number of demons you killed, and it could be kind of annoying to make sure you get a credit for each kill. But dealing damage is very straightforward. You just have to hit the demons, and it doesn't matter if you get a kill credit or not. Very good to have target cycle at these events. You definitely would like to have that. You just use abilities until a demon's HP hits 0, and then you hit target cycle and continue. So you don't have to worry about finding them and clicking them, especially when a lot of these are just like an absolute sea of sunshines and what's it called? Magma tempests. It's really hard to see stuff at a lot of these right now because there's a ton of people doing them. But yeah, just get that damage dealt personal to the max. During the demon event, it was a little bit suspicious. Like if I wasn't, there at the start and paying attention and doing it as best I could, I might have missed out, but all the other ones were pretty easy to hit the personal goal for. But if you're trying to get these done, just make sure you try and show up at the time where the event is starting and, wherever it's located. If you need to know where the events are or when they are, they happen every hour on the hour. And I think there was like 13 or 14 different ones that are going to happen in order in a cycle. So they started at 11 game time, and every hour they are spawning. You come here to Edgeville and you want to talk to the Wandering Remoki or Nickel here, and you can ask when's the next event. They'll tell you. So this next one's going to be, there's a pond south of the Wilderness Lodestone. We found some unusual plants, collect them, and we experiment, and that'll happen in 41 minutes on the hour. So that sounds like another skilling one, and I guess I can play the next event that I did here, which was a skilling one, which was catching butterflies. This one was kind of weird. I don't know how they did it, actually, because it seemed like there wasn't any competition involved. Like, I was catching these butterflies, and I didn't really see any of them disappearing because someone else caught them. So I guess they're like instanced to each player, which is definitely an interesting thing. And I mean, it's definitely was needed for an event like this. And if I'm being honest with you, I'm surprised they did it properly the first time around, given their track record for things like this. So that's good to see. Basically, there's a bunch of magical butterflies spawn around, and then there's the imp guy in the center of the area that you just click to hand them in. They do go in your inventory. And for this one, you only needed to catch 10 personally, but the total needed was like over 700. So it was pretty tough compared to the demon one. And, I think we only ended up finishing it with like a minute remaining on the clock or something like that. So definitely not as easy. And one other thing that's like kind of a twist with this event, and you might see it happen during the footage, is There will also be poison butterflies that spawn, which will just damage you for a pretty sizable poison hit if you try and catch them. So you kind of have to pay attention a little bit. I caught one just to see what it would do. I knew it wouldn't be a good thing, but yeah, it turns out that there is a damaging poisonous butterfly around there. They can probably kill you. I'm not sure. It seemed like some people might have been hitting lower, so maybe it's like an agility obstacle where it deals damage based on your current HP, but still, just don't catch the poison butterflies and you should be fine on that. So yeah, that event, I don't know, I guess a little bit more interesting than the demons, but not too much. And then the third event that I did was probably the most interesting so far, and that was the KBD, who basically spawned in, and it was kind of similar to the Varrock Lith fight, where he would spawn a bunch of spires around, and those spires would make it so he couldn't take damage. He also had some minion, like normal black dragons that would spawn and prevent him from taking damage as well. I remember one of them being called like Poison Black Dragon or Shock Black Dragon, so like, you know, similar to his breaths and stuff. So this one was probably the most interesting, although still just like, you know, everyone spamming attacks and just killing it quickly. Not that, not that interesting, but still a bit more of a step up, especially from like the demons. And I mean, I guess similar in interest to the butterflies. This one only had to do 35k damage to, I guess it was only to the boss that damage counted though. So any damage you dealt to the minions or the spires would not count for the damage dealt that you needed. But the boss itself, I think had like over 3 million health to start. So yeah, this one was quite a bit easier to hit your personal goal for than either of the other two. Or I guess the butterflies was probably even easier than this, but definitely the demon invasion one was the hardest by far to hit your personal goal. But it seemed like at some point, once we'd killed all the spires and all the minions, that he just stopped spawning things, and we just killed it pretty quickly after that. But still not that bad of an event there. And then the final one that I just completed recently was very similar to the Zamorak, or to the Demon Invasion, where basically it was like a bunch of the forgotten warriors and mages and stuff from Daemonheim that would just spawn in, and you'd have to kill them. It was nothing really interesting at all. To me, for some reason, it seemed like I was dealing less damage than I should have been against them. I'm not sure if they have some sort of damage reduction applied or what it was exactly, or maybe they were instanced. I'm not sure, because I would use like, a bunch of people were attacking them and on them, and I would use like wild magic and stuff like that, and it just didn't seem to be dealing as much damage as I would have expected to normally. But target cycle helps again here, definitely. And yeah, this one had a bit more that spawned in overall. They spawned in, I think 90 were needed to complete the event, but you still needed the 70k damage of the demon event. I just found this one quite a bit easier since it seemed to go by a lot slower than the demon event did. And this one took place in the same location as the KBD event, actually. So yeah, that's pretty much the events. Again, really not that interesting, and I assume they're going to be pretty dead pretty soon after this update. Once everyone's done their comps and stuff that you need and gotten their fill of it, they'll die off pretty soon after. So I'm hoping they scale to the number of people that are there. Maybe, I'm not sure how exactly they work, but ideally you would be able to do this with fewer people. But like for this one right here, I mean, if there was even half the amount of people there, we might probably, we maybe not would have completed it. I guess we still had half the amount of time at the end. But like for the butterflies, definitely we wouldn't have been able to complete without, nearly the amount of people that were there. So I'm assuming that they do scale in some way, but we'll have to see once the popularity dies down a bit. So yeah, those are the events I've had. There's still several more to come. I might go check them out, when they're happening. But there are, let me check again on they revealed this a couple days ago. They told us about the rewards and the event types and stuff. There's one with like an evil tree and stuff. Let's see. Okay, so there are, they're going to make me count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 different types of events, and there's general combat and skilling, and then also special combat and skilling events. And these special ones give an additional reward bag, and that's basically what you get. You probably saw it in some of those clips. You get a sack of wild rewards, and then when I did the KBD event, I also got a sack of very wild rewards, and you open those for some loot. And basically, there's a couple of different things you can get from these. Like, I don't know if these are new or not, but there's these shards and palm stones here. These shards basically just let you teleport to a wilderness obelisk from anywhere, which is pretty useful. Not that amazing, but it only lets you choose if you have the wilderness diary completed. I think it's the hard tasks are needed to be able to choose. Otherwise, this would just teleport you to a random one. So pretty useful if you have the hard tasks done. And then there's this obsidian palm stone, which I don't know what it means by see the messaging. You'll now see a message when so you can toggle if you want to see the message or not. This basically stops your threat level from going up. And again, I'm not sure if these existed before or not. However, there is wait a minute. There's also apparently a portable obelisk available. I don't know how you get that. Maybe it's just rare, but that's an infinite use version of these shards. So I'm not sure how you get that. Maybe it's just a rare loot from these events. You also sometimes get a lamp from doing the event. As you can see here, I got a 1 combat XP lamp that gave me like a bit of range XP. So that's what you get sometimes. And yeah, the palm stone, like I said. And then the big thing that everyone's been talking about that came out with this is additional enchantments. So of course, with Elite Dungeon 4, Zami release, there were these enchantments which you can get, and there's quite a few of them. I think there's some for the new rings, like the enhanced Dagonoth King rings and stuff like that. Let me just type in enchantment. So yeah, you can see them here. Enchantment of Affliction. They increase, the Inquisitor's staff damage. This one increases the Gloves of Passage effect. They're pretty cool. I kind of like the whole idea of the enchantments, but especially now that there's these additional enchantments added for this update, I would really hope that they at some point add some sort of interface to see what enchantments that you have, because these are just passive unlocks, and you can only see if you have them by looking on the item itself that has been, improved by this enchantment and checking to see if it's been added to the tooltip, I believe. So I would like it if they had some kind of interface to track which ones you do and don't have, and in general, an interface to see all the sorts of passive effects that are going on your account would be nice, considering how many of them there are nowadays. Totems, relics, things like the Reaper crew buff, these enchantments. There's just a ton of different passives that you could have at this point. It would be nice to be able to see them all and know which ones you do and don't have. I hope they add that at some point. But the addition, what the heck is this? Spectre of Enchantment tradable. I don't even know what this is. Never even heard of it. Very strange, very strange. But the ones that you get from here are called Dark Facet. So these are the 3 enchantments, and they're basically like rotated versions of the items they affect, it looks like. And they improve a couple of the alchemical onyx items. The Dark Facet of Luck, which will improve your luck of the dwarves, adds an additional teleport to the dwarven outpost, as well as a 1% chance to skip a clue step on completion of a clue step, and a 0.1% chance, or 1 in 1,000, to gain 2 clue caskets when you complete a clue. So very, very low chance of any of this happening. It's like every 15 to 20 full clues you complete, you'll skip 1 step, which is very insignificant, especially considering the treasure totem that you can get skips an entire clue step on every clue. And then obviously 1 in 1,000 chance at getting 2 caskets. That's pretty much irrelevant. But you want to make sure you're wearing your Luck of the Dwarves when you complete them. If you do have this, I assume, yeah, you do have to be wearing it. This does also affect the Luck of the Dwarves relic as well. So these will be added to that if you are having that. And also, if you don't know where the Dwarven Outpost is, because you might not, it's actually just basically useful for a single clue step, for a hard clue step. It is right about, where am I here? It's right here. This is the Dwarven Outpost, and there's a clue step that requires you to search a crate like right around here. So that'll be useful for that basically. I don't think there's any other reason you'll be wanting. I mean, if you're mining coal at the coal trucks, it'll be quite helpful, I'm sure. But that's about the only reason for getting that. So that's the dark facet of luck. And again, it's some pretty powerful effects. It's just the chance is extremely low. So you're not really going to be expecting that to be paying off anytime soon. But yeah, it's much lower chance than like the Orlando Smith hat proc, which you would kind of expect because obviously the Orlando Smith hat gives you an additional casket of a lower tier. This just gives you 2 of the tier you completed. So, and it wouldn't make much sense for it to be stronger than the hero item, I guess. But yeah, that's the Dark Facet of Luck. The Dark Facet of Passage is very simple and basically makes your Passage of the Abyss no longer consume charges, which is, as far as I understand it from most people's discussion on Reddit, fairly irrelevant because it was really not that difficult to upkeep charges on the Passage of the Abyss. It's not something I've used too much since by the time it was out, I wasn't really playing on this account and doing clues, and I don't have it on any of my Iron Men just yet. I just wanted to see how many. Yeah, one fortunate component was 500 teleport charges. So really not a big deal having this or not. Probably would be the last one you'd ever want to get. The Dark Facet of Passage here makes it so your Passage of the Abyss is infinite charges. And then the Dark Facet of Grace is actually quite a strong one. Probably my favorite in my opinion. First of all, it increases the porter storage cap on your Grace of the Elves from 500 to 2,000, which is quite nice. Multiplies it by 4, obviously makes it so you can stay at places like archaeology locations. That's the main thing I use porters for, but wherever you use porters, you can stay there longer. And just nice to have that. But it also increases the skill prayer drain rate reduction by a further 50%. So, and it says 100% total. Basically, once you have this, if you're wearing your Grace of the Elves, you can use any of these skilling prayers for free. They don't charge, or they don't drain any prayer. So that means things like the Chronicle Attraction, you can just have this on at all times and you'll automatically capture Chronicles while doing divination. It also applies for Light Form if you're doing Crystallize at things like Acadia Logs in Menaphos or something like that. Also Superheat Form, so you'll always be able to use it to smelt faster and also do better progress at lower smithing heats. I'm not sure if there's any others that it affects. But those 3 on their own, I mean, it's just definitely really nice quality of life. I know a lot of these could already be fairly easily offset by, just a prayer renewal or the ancient elven ritual shard. But, this just removes that being needed at all. Let's see. Which prayers? Light Form, Superheat Form, and Chronicle Attraction. Yeah, so it's just those 3. But still, I mean, I think it's nice, a nice little upgrade in the porter size. So, I mean, it's honestly probably similar to the Luck of the Dwarves. It's not huge, although it is definitely, I think, a little bit better on that upgrade, but still not hugely significant. But overall, I'm a pretty big fan of it. I like the enchantment idea personally. It's just like nice little incremental upgrades to existing items rather than an entirely new item. And, it's always cool to have passives that you can shoot for and unlock and stuff like that. At the moment, I'm not 100% sure how you make these. I know there's a reward that you get from these wilderness bags that you need to make it. And it's like dark, what is it called? The dark onyx core or something like that. Yeah, there's a possible chance of getting a dark onyx core, I guess from special encounters only. It does say a dark onyx core will drop from special encounters that can be used to create 3 enchantments. So I guess I only had a chance to get one from that very wild reward bag maybe. And as far as the other rewards that I got from those bags, by the way, I actually got a whip while I was killing the demons for that, the gross misconduct achievement. But I got 4. I opened 4 of these plus 1 very wild, so 5 bags total. Also got these from Viscins. I got 4 volcanic protections, which basically will prevent the volcano from damaging you. It's a one-time use, so pretty not helpful. 9 of the obelisk shards that I already talked about. 3 muddy keys, 3 medium-plated necronium salvage. And then this is what I got from the very wild rewards. I got a Zamorak statuette and 129 criminal bolts. Sorry about that. I had to step away for a sec, but yeah, like I said, I got a Zamorak statuette and back criminal bolts, which was really weird. I was really surprised to see the Zamorak statuette, honestly. But how much is that even worth? 300k, I guess. I'm not sure. I feel like the ALC price is. I think that's 500k, isn't it? I think the ALC price might be lower than the sell price to Mandarith. Yeah, it does sell for 500k. Wow, kind of weird that I actually remembered that, but. 129 back criminal bolts. I mean, that's pretty good. Honestly, how much is that even worth? No, I guess bolts probably dropped a ton since the arrows, but yeah, I mean 200k, but still really weird. So I guess, I mean, that's what I got from the very wild reward bag. Maybe I could have gotten the dark onyx core, but yeah, also red chinchampas I got from one of the smaller bags. I think that was from the last event. So nothing really special, honestly. I mean, the dark or the plated necronium salvage is cool. I like, for some reason, I like new salvage in the game. Although that's not new, that was already from the wilderness reward chest. But still, for some reason, I like how they add the new salvages as a set. Because on this account, I don't have any sort of organization, but my loot tabs on my Iron Man look really cool when I'm getting all the salvage types lined up. Where the heck did I get all this huge bladed rune salvage? What the? Oh, maybe Zami? I don't even know. Jesus, that's a lot. Anyway, yeah, that's all the loot from those. I'm actually looking on the wiki now. It appears they do have the items you need for these new enchantments. For the Luck of the Dwarves enchantment, you need the Dark Onyx core, 7 corporeal components, which I don't even know where you get, probably from spirit shields. Yeah, spirit shields only. Those are the only things that you can get those from, so weird. You need 7 corporeal components, 10 cut onyxes, so quite a few of those, and then 10 muddy keys. Very weird. Did get muddy keys from one of the bags, so yeah, or you'll have to go to the Chaos Dwarf battlefield to get those. That's the luck. For the Grace of the Elves one, you need the Dark Onyx core, 7 Sarin components, which are, I believe, a bit easier to get than the corporeal, probably. You get them from like crystal equipment, any kind of crystal stuff. So probably like you could just do crystal bows or buy some random crystal stuff off the GE and assemble it. 10 onyxes as well for this one, and 5 crystal tool seeds, which according to the GE right now are 100k. You get those from like drops of elves and Prif and stuff like that. So that one's kind of weird, but yeah, crystal tool seeds, 5 of those. And then the facet of passage. Wow. Strangely enough, you need a Dark Onyx core and 10 onyxes as well, all the same. 7 ascended components, which for some reason I have 81 of. Where do you get that? Like just some like Serenic and stuff? Yeah. Only Serenic, Elite Serenic, and Ascension crossbows and grips. So kind of annoying to get that, honestly. Guess you'll probably just want to disassemble like a Serenic leg or something. Because Serenic scales are pretty cheap nowadays. But you also need an Abyssal Wand and Orb for this one. So very strange. But I mean, I guess kind of makes sense. Passage of the Abyss, Abyssal Wand, Abyssal Orb. So some cool items needed for these. Nothing too difficult to get, really. Probably as far as Ironmen are considered, I would say the Abyssal Wand and Orb might be the hardest, or the Crystal Tool Seeds. I'm not sure. Muddy Keys, obviously very easy to get. And then Onyxes are usually plentiful, but requires 10 Onyxes for each of these. So they're not actually that difficult to make, really. So they shouldn't be super expensive. It just depends on how rare that Dark Onyx core is. Again, I didn't get it from the one special event that I did. let me look and see when the next special event is. So Surprising Seedlings is the next event, and that is general skilling. Then we have Hellhound Pack, which is general combat. Infernal Star, surely that's special, right? Yes, Infernal Star. Oh, wait. Okay, so there's two types of Infernal Star, apparently. But either one of those is special. So the next special event where you can, I guess, potentially get the Dark Onyx Core is at 19 o'clock game time. So in about 2 hours, 2 hours, 15 minutes from right now. Who knows what time it is when this video is actually uploaded. But if you want to try it out and try and get that Dark Onyx Core, be sure to attend that event and any other special events which are available. You can see the list on the reveal post from October 12th. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the update. Overall, again, like I said, pretty meh in general. Nothing that exciting. The enchantments themselves are pretty cool, but the events are pretty boring and uninteresting. Again, like I said, kind of like a permanent version of the Zamorak Demons Invade event. Nothing that to get that excited about, and will probably die out pretty soon after the update. As far as the mini quests go, again, kind of uninteresting in themselves. Really cool cutscene in the second one, and I personally kind of like the idea of using an achievement that exists to count as the mini quest itself. When I first thought of it, I was like, that's kind of weird. That doesn't really make sense. But now that I think of it, like, it makes way more sense because it's tied to an existing game mechanic that you might have done in the past. And if you have done it in the past, you don't necessarily have to redo it just for the mini quest if you already got that achievement. So I think that's pretty well thought out, honestly. And there is going to be a third part to that mini quest series, which will come out later. I think later this year or maybe next year. I'm not sure, but yeah, pretty cool. And then as far as patch notes went for this week, there wasn't anything that significant, I don't think. They did buff the Dine Arrow creation speed, apparently. Let me quickly buy some of the regular Dine Arrows. Let me think. You need, you make how many? 15 at a time? 60? I can't do math. I'm just going to buy 1,000. Just because I want to see how long it takes. Previously, it took longer than you'd be able to be logged in for without, clicking the screen to charge a full stack of these. So let's see how long it'll take now. Oh, wow. It's actually nearly 100 or maybe even more than 100 seconds faster than it was. But they said they also reduced the XP so that it's the same amount of XP per hour. It just takes less time to charge them. So I think that's good. I'm going to stop doing this now or am I losing money on these? Who knows? Let's examine. It's like the same. It is. I am losing money. Wow. Hard to believe. But yeah, I've made a grave mistake here. But anyway, yeah, that's good. I think it's, they were wicked slow before. They're still really slow, but it's at least a little bit faster. I don't know if people will be happy with where it is now or if, Jagex is now happy with where it is, but we'll have to wait and see if the feedback on that is good or bad. And other than that, I don't think there was anything else in these notes. I read through them earlier, but yeah, not that interesting. They finally fixed some issue with Elena in some quests that people were memeing about on Reddit for a while. So now she'll spawn for certain quests that she wasn't available for before. But yeah, that's pretty much it, you guys. You can let me know your thoughts on this update in the comments. I know this is a bit of a longer video, but I did go over like all of the events that I've done so far and wanted to give my full thoughts on it and stuff like that. Have you guys done any of the events? Have you gotten any of the dark, whatever it is, the Dark Onyx cores? And if so, did you get it from the Very Wild Bag, or what exactly did you get it from? Are you going to be picking up any of these enchantments? What are your thoughts over? Oh, right. There was one other thing that I wanted to talk about that I saw on Reddit. There are some new combat override animations in the game, but they aren't available to get yet. Unfortunately, if you look, like Lava Tsunami, which I don't have on this account, says this reward can be obtained from the Expedition to Wilderness Yak Track. But then like something like Azure Dragon Breath says this can be obtained from Treasure Hunter or by purchasing it from other players. Also, where's Iron Sunshine in here? Does it not show up anymore because it's not available? Okay, that's spams. And unfortunately, these 3 new ones, which are Chaotic Swiftness, Molten Barricade, and Shock Barricade, also say that they can be obtained from Treasure Hunter. So that's really disappointing. I hope there's some other way to get it. I don't know, but I really don't like that they're going on Treasure Hunter. I would easily pay a decent amount of rune coins for these animations, just straight up, so I could get them on my Iron Man. I would even selfishly accept them just making it buyable on rune coins as an Iron Man, since you don't have Treasure Hunter. And I don't think the main Scape community would be okay with that. And I think that would be kind of BS too, honestly, but I would take it just so I could get them without having to. I don't think I ever will absolutely have to grind like an absolute madman, get a ton of gold, and then buy it off the GE, because they're so expensive. And I can get GP on an Iron Man, but man, that's tough. But anyway, let me get into them. Chaotic Swiftness looks so cool. It actually changes the animation of the activation as well as the thing itself. So like Iron Sunset Sunshine was the first override that came out, and it's the same sunshine animation where you raise your hands up and you do whatever. If you remember, if you know the Death Swiftness animation, you like raise up one hand and then the black thing spins around you. Now look at Chaotic Swiftness here. You like slam the ground and then boom, it's like this red flaming Death Swiftness. It looks so good. I absolutely love this one. Obviously Lava Tsunami is really good looking as well, although it is still just basically a color swap. This is also a color swap, but comes with this new animation. Boom. Oh my, I love that. That is so good looking. And it's so upsetting that's just going to be on Treasure Hunter. I really hope they allow these for rune coins at some point. And then you have Molten and Shock Barricade, which are both very similar, but still look pretty cool. Molten Barricade, it's like, hardened lava instead of those shields that it is. That one's not that great, really. But still, it's slightly more than, just a color palette swap, because obviously these are a little different than those shields. And then Shock Barricade, I like quite a bit more. It's like got the electricity to it and a similar like stones around you. So yeah, they're clearly upping their game with these ability overrides, and I'm all for it. I really, really love these as a cosmetic reward. I really just hope that they don't keep putting them only on Treasure Hunter. Man, this Chaotic Swiftness is so sick. I absolutely love that. So good looking, honestly. I would love to have that. But, we'll have to, I'm not going to buy keys for it. That's for sure. And I can't buy keys for it on Iron Man anyway, but man, I might be grinding some Croesus to get some GP or something. I might be going for this on one of my Iron Men because it's absolutely beautiful. Let me know your thoughts on these in the comments as well. And that's going to be it for this video, you guys. I hope you all did enjoy it again, and I will see you in the next one. Let me know your thoughts in the comments on the update and the overrides and all that. And if you missed it, had some Hardcore Iron Man episodes come out over the last week or two, and I'm going to be continuing with some backup hardcore videos. Maybe I'll have one on like Wednesday, Thursday, coming up soon, as I have tons of clips for that. See you guys in the next video. Peace out.